Hey peeps, welcome to Saisamonga. I'm excited that this series has been amazing. Thank you for the new subscribers. Karibuni sana. Thank you for those who started this journey with me. I truly appreciate. Thank you for the comments, for the DMs, for the messages, for the calls. I truly appreciate them. You have enjoyed this series, and this series is coming to an end. And I hope you will not end your journey with the channel there. This episode is amazing because it's the last episode for Let's Talk About Relationships, and today I have my pastor, Pastor Mulika, to talk about our relationship with God, because everything else ties to that. We come full circle when we are talking about God.
Let me begin by saying I hope that it will not be a bad closure. I will not dampen the whole series.
They will not get scared. Hey!
So Mulika is my name. I wear actually three hats.
Okay, that's amazing.
3 hats.
Yes.
1, pastor.
Yes.
2, and this is in terms of work.
Yeah.
2, I'm a behavioral psychologist.
Okay.
And number 3, I'm an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Serial.
Unauza mchele?
I have done business since I left high school, so different things.
Umeuza mpaka quills. Whatever comes.
I have sold paper bags.
Yes.
I have painted houses.
I
have sold construction materials.
You are a true entrepreneur.
I have sold maize.
Yeah, you are a true entrepreneur.
So,
it's a true entrepreneur.
Yeah,
and because you're talking about relationship, it's important that you respond in your relationship status.
Yes, my relationship status.
Yes.
I have 10 years of experience.
Yeah.
In a permanent
I like that.
Relationship.
In a permanent relationship, that is marriage.
That is marriage.
Yes, for 10 years.
I have slightly over 10 years
that's
experience.
That's amazing. I want us to start this conversation, but before we start, I want an audience that I think you became my pastor when I was a teenager.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. That is even before I got married.
Yeah.
607?
Yes. So it's been quite a journey to be on this end, and for him to still be a pastor. I thank the Lord for preserving him. But I want us to
that you're still around.
And I'm still it's still important. It's still very important. So I want to start this conversation by talking about how we are looking at the modern church. Either our accessibility to a lot of information, we no longer see the point of coming to church. We don't want to ability to feel we have it together. We don't need to come.
Well, I wouldn't respond as an authority, and I say that because I haven't really done a study to understand. But just looking at certain things.
Yes.
The reality of our generation and the modern, is it really modern? There's a lot of emphasis on the present. There's a lot of emphasis on personal happiness and a very short-term outlook of life.
Okay.
That's why things like you only live once have become so big.
Yes.
Because do life today, you don't know about tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that in itself affects a lot of things. Church is a marathon. Like anything that seeks to impact the whole of your life, it is long term. It has present rewards.
Yes.
But sometimes they are not visible. There are issues of a lot of sacrifice. You're coming to church. A lot of people now are coming to church asking the question, what value am I getting right now?
Okay.
And if you can't translate that into value for now,
then you no longer see the point of it.
You don't see the point of it. While you went to school for so many years, primary school 8 years, high school 4 years, you went to campus for another 4 years.
Yeah.
Without reaping the reward for it. But you look at that education, you learned certain things, you got a certain level of exposure, you were molded into the person you are today,
Yeah.
and so you're eating the fruit of that investment.
Okay.
While we want to eat the fruit of our investment in church instantly.
Yeah, it's immediate.
Now there is immediate reward, but there is also long-term reward, and so you must look at both for you to attach yourself to a place where you're receiving something for the present and you're receiving something for the long term.
Yeah, at the same time that it's both happening.
It's both happening.
This over 10 years plus that you've been married, how has your relationship with God affected your marriage?
How has it has anchored it?
Okay.
Why will I say it has anchored it? The only reason I have remained married is because of my relationship with God.
Wow, that's strong. That's true.
Yes, because everything else has been tested,
Yeah.
and there are times it has fallen apart.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you are not grounded with your relationship with God, it would have fallen apart.
Oh yes, it would have.
Wow, that's so sobering to imagine that the one thing we are not looking at when we come to our relationship, our other relationships, is we are not looking at the person's relationship with God. We seem to be not dancing around it, but feeling it's something we can deal with later.
But do the values of the other person, are they grounded on biblical principles, on godly principles? And the reason I say that is, if they are not, everything will fall apart.
Definitely.
Everything will fall apart, because it's just that consistent motivation.
Yes.
By doing the right thing.
Even when it doesn't feel right.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
and enough times it doesn't feel right.
It won't feel right for a
You'll
long
get
time.
annoyed.
Yeah.
And you're justified to act in a particular way.
Yes.
But is it the right thing to do?
Yeah. And that's good, because you're talking about values. Let's talk about different religions coming together who are in between. You know, they're calling, I don't know what they're calling themselves, but they say, I do not have enough reasons to justify there's a God, neither do I have enough reasons to say there is none.
Yes.
You know, so there's not lack of a religion.
Agnostics.
Exactly. That's the word. Yeah.
I understand people questioning religion.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't receive sufficient answers.
Yes.
And I guess then that is the responsibility of the teachers of religion.
Yes.
In that sense.
Yeah.
To be able to give relevant answers to people who are seeking, because there are enough people who are seeking.
Yes.
When you find someone who's a bit educated, they're a bit exposed,
Yes.
they will ask questions. It's like you. Today you don't just buy a product, you ask questions.
Yes.
Not just because it has been advertised, not just because
They
it
say
is touted to be good and everything. Now we even have a generation that is more conscious, asking deeper questions than our parents would even ask. When you're buying clothes, are they made in an environmentally sustainable way?
Of course, yeah.
And so is there slavery
Involved,
or child labor involved in the manufacture of those things?
Yeah.
So you're finding people are asking deeper questions, and so I don't find it wrong to question religion, but then going to your question, bringing to people of different religious convictions together. The Bible says that two cannot walk together unless they agree.
That's true.
And so does the value system, does the underlying value system agree? And it's not just religion. You will even find Christians coming together, but their value systems
does not agree.
Yes. Someone is totally sunk in the truth of the scripture and they are committed to live it out.
Yeah.
Another person is a bit liberal. Open in the interpretation of the word of God. Now, if you also put those two people together, you will find challenges. Because my perspective is it's either black or white. Your perspective is
there's a bit of shades of pink and purple and something.
Exactly.
We can we can dingle about it somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you find that religious convictions are an extreme, but even the people who are here are not as safe.
I like what you say, that people are seeking questions.
Yes.
And we are asking a lot of questions. In
Yes.
this generation, we are asking questions constantly.
Yes.
And there seems to be a conflict between the person who is presenting the gospel and what they are saying. What is causing this conflict? So that I'm not able to seek.
I think there's a lot of irrelevance when people ask questions. It's easy for me as a teacher of faith to push things and ideas just because they've been presented to me without questioning, without challenging, without seeking deeper truths in it. And it's the same that came to Jesus. When the Pharisees asked Jesus about saving, a man saving his donkey on the Sabbath, they practiced it to the extent that they were just serving the law, while Jesus is simply telling them, you know what, the law is actually meant to serve humanity, and not to serve humanity as an individual, but to serve the whole of humanity together. It's not just for the good of one person, because it can be for your good, but what is your good for now can be hurting to the rest of society. And so there has to be balance between the individual good and the good of the society in general. And so just looking at it from that perspective, we have to ask questions. What is the reason behind this teaching? What was God trying to achieve with this? Now the truth is this, that we will never achieve full answers, but we will keep being enlightened and having a better understanding and a clearer understanding of those teachings.
If we keep at it.
Yes, because the truth is this, those teachings are meant to serve us for here and now, in preparation for eternity. And so we can never ignore the here and now.
We can't forget the here.
Came so that you may have life and you may have it
in abundance.
Oh, he wants us to have life. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
It's not the boring stuff, it's not the restricted stuff.
Yes.
He wants you to live the life. That is what he came to give you. To give you. And he came to give it to you
now
on earth.
Yes, not on the other end.
Both. There is the now and the other end.
Yeah.
Yes, so there is eternity also in it. So we cannot just look at eternity
And forget now.
ignore now.
Or look now and forget the eternity as
Or
well.
look at now
Yeah.
and forget eternity.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance between
and
the
a
two.
super.
Yes.
Is our access of information affecting how we relate with God?
Yes.
We seem to have a lot to take in.
There's a lot of information and so much exposure to information.
Are not
Somebody
getting to the
said
truth.
that we are the most ignorant generation,
That's true.
even in the presence of so much information.
And so much access to it, we are still very
Yes,
ignorant.
because also there is more in terms of lies than there is
the
a
truth.
truth. There is more misinformation than correct information that is available.
So we are soaking in a lot of lies, so that such that even when the truth comes, you can't recognize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And our minds have already been conditioned to accept
The lies.
the lies as a truth.
Yeah.
That even when you see the truth,
You can't accept.
I would go back to the word itself, because that is what anchors us.
So we need to go there for ourselves.
You need to go
We
there.
can't
for
outsource
yourself.
this service.
No.
anymore. Yeah. Okay.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Because I think we have
Because even
outsourced
as-
it for so long.
Because even as a pastor,
Yeah.
as I communicate the truth of the word of God, there are my thoughts in there.
Your opinions.
There are my opinions
Your
in there.
experiences.
There are my experiences in there. And like you said, even for products, it
Yeah.
might work like this for one person, it might work differently for another person.
Yeah.
And so my experiences might not be the anchor for truth for you. So I cannot be prescriptive. I can only share and challenge you to think through it, to explore it deeper. I can only open a door for you
Then
to go
I
in
go in and explore.
and explore for yourself,
Yeah.
to find the truth.
Yeah.
I can point you to a certain direction. I can tell you this is the way to where you want to go, but you have to experience it yourself. And so you have to go back to the Word of God.
And I have to be willing to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
because then that anchors everything else. I'm not telling you not to go to social media. I'm not telling you not to go to the internet. But all the things that you experience out there, how do you test
Whether they're truth or not.
and whether they are of value to you or not? You have to have your lab.
Since kupigia simu pasi walisema hivi.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have to be able to sieve and sort for myself.
Yes.
Before I go to.
Yes.
Okay.
And what is that sieve? That sieve is the Word of God.
Okay. Tell me, as the church, how is the church structured or preparing people for relationships?
The church has always spoken about relationships, through and through. Has it done a good job? Yes and no.
Okay.
And the reason I say yes is because I think the church has done its best
Okay.
on the resources that it has had. And the no, I think also to a certain extent, and in certain areas, the church has controlled.
Yeah.
The no, we've taught people what not to do
Yeah.
without empowering them to make the right decisions. What do I mean by that? We've hardly talked about sex,
Yeah.
and there is very little material from the church on the subject of sex. A lot of what is available out there
Yeah.
is the negative aspects
Yes.
of wrong sexual behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do you know what you are supposed to do when you get married and start having sex?
No.
Have you ever had anyone tell you this is how to go about
No,
it?
no.
While cultures
Yeah.
prepared people for that,
Yes. Yes.
but we've not empowered people.
Yeah.
We tell teenagers, we tell children not to have sex,
Yeah.
and we tell them the dangers of having sex.
Yes.
While the rest of the world is exciting them about sex. But then we've not empowered them to understand that in case I get caught up in a particular situation,
How do I go about it?
I will make my decisions based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And similarly for relationships.
Yeah.
A lot of the information that has been out there has been very prescriptive.
Yes.
If you do this, then this.
Yes.
If you do this for your husband, if you do this for your wife,
Yes.
do
And
this,
if you do this for him, he will stay. If you do this, he will leave.
or this is what will create happiness.
Yeah.
And that in itself presumes that you have control over another individual, which is not true.
Yeah.
Our relationships are messed up a lot by the assumption that you can control another person's behavior.
Yeah. Which you can.
You can worship the ground that I walk on and still be mean to you.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
You can be mean to me, and we've seen that.
Yeah.
And I still treat you well.
Yep. Yeah.
And so you can never control human behavior. It's not as easy as people assume. That just because you've done this, then it's an assumption
that as long as you give this, then the response should be this.
It's
It's not true.
It's not true.
Yeah.
It's an assumption of cause and effect.
Yeah.
And human behavior doesn't function like that.
Yeah.
Because human beings have what we call free will.
Yes.
I will do whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether you're
It doesn't matter
influencing
what you've done for me.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying, because then that brings also the issue of ownership.
Yes.
We are a generation that feels, if I've done this for him and I've done this for him, he is my property or she is my property.
You remember when we were talking about sex the other time, I
Yes.
said that there's nothing like gifts, only obligations.
Yes.
I borrowed that from someone.
Yes.
We feel that when we do something for someone, they're obligated to respond.
Which is not true.
And to respond
In a certain way.
in a certain way. We
Yeah.
want almost to control their response.
Yeah.
And that's why if they respond in a way that we don't feel serves us, we are disappointed, actually,
and frustrated.
to the point of annoyance.
Yeah. Is it that we also want to be in control a lot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I bought you a phone.
Yes.
You buy me socks. What do you need?
Yeah.
So when I buy you a phone, I expect you to try at least and measure up.
Yes.
Hii maneno ya kununua handkerchief, those are not gifts. So it's actually an issue of control.
Yeah. We
And
want to control the
that
outcome.
is also messing up our relationships big time.
Yeah.
Instead of allowing people to live out their lives and respond to us on the basis of their ability, their understanding.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that we should allow people to be careless.
Yes.
But we should be careful not to want to control behavior and other people, our partners' responses, to the extent that they cannot live their lives.
Yeah. Could it be that it's because the standards we are setting, and half of these standards are not even in the word, we are setting them on the socials, relationship goals, we should at some point wear the same kitenge, we should be at some point going for a holiday, we should be at some point doing this and this.
Have you ever read a romance novel or watched a romance movie or even a soap and seen people working?
No.
Or doing normal life?
No.
Apart from just loving each other?
Nothing else they are doing.
That is the expectation we come to relationships with.
Yeah.
So when I go to work,
Yeah.
it actually takes away from our relationship.
So I have something against the work then? Because
So
the
you
work
start
is not
getting
allowing.
annoyed
Yeah.
with work.
Yeah.
You start getting annoyed about my friends.
Yes.
You start getting annoyed about the normal things of life.
Which
Because
are normal
the expectation is romance tells us that we will only be happily ever after together, as long as we are together.
The rest of the things can stop as long as we are together.
When we are not together, it
something is
threatens
wrong.
our relationship.
Yes.
Culture has also promoted such an assumption. You're told that when you get married, you should do everything with your husband.
Yeah.
The hanging out, the going out to have coffee.
Even to events. I cannot be showing to the events alone after this, Because
everything.
everybody will be asking, where's your husband? I thought she got married. Because the husband doesn't come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you start cutting off people.
Yeah.
But really,
It's not even possible. It's not even doable.
I don't enjoy going for weddings. So why are you dragging me for weddings?
For you to be seen. It's not really
Yes.
for you, it's for me.
You don't enjoy golfing
Yes. But
or watching football.
yes,
So
but
why
I want
should
to go with you so
But
that
we are told that we should be together.
yeah, we should be
And-
doing it together.
And if I'm doing it with my boys, it's threatening our relationship.
Yeah.
But no single individual can give you everything in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, it's not even possible. They're not even able to. Does the church recognize come we stay marriages? I know the law does, the community does. Does the church accept it?
What have you called it again?
Come we stay.
What?
Come we stay.
Can we stay what?
Marriage.
So
No, okay, let me not call it marriage because the law says 6 months. We are married. That's the law.
no. The law says all marriages
Yes.
must be registered.
So until I register, we are not married.
Until you register, the law doesn't recognize it as a marriage.
So where is the church then?
Where is the church? Now,
Because the law is clear. Then if I don't register, then we are not.
allow me to do a bit of teaching here.
Yes.
There is religious practice
Yes.
and there is what God recognizes.
Yes.
Now, religious practice enables us to be able to at least monitor certain things
Okay.
and to help people. It's like rites of passage. There's a transition and you can recognize the transition.
Yes.
Like
circumcision.
Yeah. And so religious practice introduces certain things into life. It's like salvation. We ask you, when did you get born again? And you realize there are people who gave their lives to Christ. It started as a process and they cannot pinpoint a
The
particular
actual day or time, yeah.
Are they born again?
Yes, they are.
They are born again. Now, for decency and for public order, the church has weddings.
Okay.
And when I say weddings, I don't mean big weddings. We've done an office wedding. We've actually done a wedding here.
Yes.
That is a wedding.
Yes.
Going to the AG is
The
something that the church recognizes as marriage. This is what I say. And I'm not saying this as a representation of Karura Community Chapel. This is my personal opinion.
Yes.
When you make a commitment
Yes.
to someone to spend the rest of your life with them,
Yeah.
you have begun the
No.
process of a marriage.
Yeah.
And so when you call it come we stay, that is why we only say we are formalizing.
Okay.
So it is
It's
existing.
Okay. Yeah.
We
It
are-
actually existed the day we made the commitment to each other.
Yes.
Yeah, we are just here coming to formalize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the church comes in also to help safeguard. You're making a public commitment
Yeah.
and a public declaration.
Yeah.
You're making a vow before God and men. And that in itself is meaningful. And so we cannot downplay the importance of
Of
that.
it. Yeah.
But how Ruth get married?
Ruth and Boaz.
Ruth and Boaz.
Yeah. Ruth went to
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of such incidences where people just get together, the two of them, make a commitment to each other and start. So what we say is, come to us, let us bless this union.
Yeah.
And let us do it in a way that the law of the land, which we respect as a church,
Yes.
recognizes.
Yes.
And so we are doing our best as a church not to complicate things for people,
Okay.
to enable people that, Alice, if you identify someone that you think you want to spend the rest of your life with, come, let us help you be able to sort through certain things. That is why we do counseling.
Yeah.
We will work with you to do that.
Yeah.
And we will tell you, okay, you've arrived at the place where you want to make that decision, then let's make it simple. Can we just go to parents and have them bless that?
Yeah.
And come to the office.
Yeah.
I am licensed.
Yeah. And same.
My license is actually here.
Yeah.
We don't need the hula baloo of a huge wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so don't look at that I am not ready to do a wedding,
That
but
I
I
don't
am
have the money.
committed to this person.
Yes.
Come.
You're looking at the commitment.
Do you know how much it costs? 2,500. And that
Oh.
is the cost of the license
Yeah.
that we, when we take it back to the registrar of marriages,
Yes.
we have to pay.
Yes.
So that is the only thing we ask you to pay. Pay for that.
Yeah. That's it.
Even if you asked someone, if you asked your friends to changa 2,500, the poorest of us would be able to mobilize
Oh,
to,
yes,
to
yes,
2,500
yes.
to do that.
Yes.
That safeguards you
Yes.
from a perspective of the law
Yeah.
and as agents of the government of Kenya to
Yeah.
officiate marriages
Yeah,
or
yeah.
weddings. We've helped you.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
do it in a way that is recognized by the law.
Yeah.
And we also want to bless your
Yes.
union.
Yes. And also to honor that commitment.
Honor the commitment.
Honor the commitment.
Yes.
Yes. How do I reconcile being the head of the
Yes.
family
Yes.
and still be romantic? And for the women, how do I reconcile being submissive and still feeling loved?
What do the two have to do with it? Being the head
Yes.
is a decision function.
Okay.
Being romantic
Yes. It's
is
a willing.
a behavior function. Those are two different things.
Yes. Yes. Can they come together?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
When I need to lead
Yeah.
in making certain decisions,
Yeah.
I can wear that hat
Yes. Yes. And make the decision.
and make a decision.
Yeah.
But the rest is behavioral. I need to. Although I have a problem with romanticism and I know that's another full
Yes. That should be another episode.
another series
Yes,
altogether.
yes.
I've done a sermon series on how romance killed love.
Yes. I
And
remember
so
it. Yeah.
yes, I'm not a huge proponent of romanticism.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent of love.
Yes.
Love is kind. I need to be kind to you.
Yeah.
Love is sacrificial.
Yeah.
So I need to do things in a sacrificial way to my partner.
Yeah.
And so that is what informs it.
Yes.
And so making decisions
It's
on
not
this
what
end,
the commercialization is saying about it.
no. And creating expectations that are really out of this world.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about
it
these
is
ones
laying
who
a
need-
burden that is breaking relationships.
Yeah, because no one can meet that burden.
Oh yes.
Yeah. What about this?
Yes.
How is the church dealing with separation, or at what point does the separation start, and divorce?
Ever read marriage vows?
Yes.
Do you think that a sober, and when I say sober, I mean a non-intoxicated
Human being.
human being who is in their right mind, who is not mad, can make such a commitment?
No, I find the vows very heavy. It's very heavy.
You have to be mad to make such a commitment. Yet we ask you guys to make them.
I know.
But the reason I say that is because they are so heavy.
Yeah.
When I say for better, for worse,
I'm telling you. And you don't even know the worst.
you don't know the worst.
Yeah. You're working with a bit of better.
I'll take you back to an earlier statement I said. My relationship with God is what has kept. You understand now why?
Yes.
Because you have to be mad to depend on God that much to be able to make such a commitment. Because you cannot keep it by yourself. You cannot keep it with your own energy and in your own wisdom. It doesn't make sense. Separation, there are instances when the well-being and the life of an individual is threatened.
Yeah.
Then you need to protect that individual.
Okay.
And I'll remind you something I said when I talked about Jesus and the donkey.
Yes.
The law was meant to serve people,
Yes.
not people the law.
To serve the law. Yeah.
And so I might not go into detail about that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that you judge someone. Unfortunately, people have elevated marriage, relationship, and family over God. What do I mean by that? We worship marriage. Today, you will be measured on the basis of how you did with your marriage or your family life as the most important thing. If you lose that, and that in itself assumes that you have control of the other person. I tell people you're only as married as the willingness of your partner.
Yeah, because the day they're not willing, then you're not married.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Precisely.
And so measuring the success of your life on the basis of something that you have very little control over, that you can only entrust in the hands of God. And if it doesn't work,
what then?
So success of a human being is living out their purpose. It's not just their relationship. Marriage, family, and relationships are actually support structures to enable us live our God purpose. Not the other way around. Your God purpose is not a support structure for family life and marriage. It's not. Your life purpose. And that is why Paul says, I would even encourage you not to get married. So that you live out your God purpose. And so your God purpose is much more important than this. Jesus said something that we never want to go into detail. Because it doesn't sound so Christian and so good. He said, unless you hate your father and mother, your brother and sister, you cannot be counted worthy of the kingdom of God.
Yes. It's very
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
I shouldn't say that as a pastor, but
yeah.
I say it because we cannot live in a society that worships marriage and relationships over God.
Yeah.
And God, you've heard me say this, God put you on earth for a purpose, and that purpose is not marriage.
Yes.
Marriage is very useful. It is a function that holds society together.
Yeah.
And it enables you in certain ways be able to live out your purpose in life. So it's a very useful structure in you living out your purpose. Because if family collapses, then everything else collapses. And so this structure has to be strengthened. It has to be promoted to be the best and to function properly. And so we cannot elevate separation and divorce. But it shouldn't go beyond God.
Yeah. Because you see a lot of things, and as we wind up, a lot of things, even at workspaces, people are experiencing, because you're not married, then you cannot be promoted. And I want you to touch on singlehood, because it seems it's not a disability, but the society, because the society has elevated marriages so high, is also treating singlehood as a problem.
Well, this is the advantage of marriage, as I also very briefly talk about singlehood. You will realize that especially young unmarried men are involved in crime more.
Okay.
And they can be very responsible. And this is not to say all of everybody. And it's not to say that it continues through and through. Because these are choices and decisions that people make. And we should allow people to go through the maturing process. Marriage seems to thrust people into responsibility in a huge way. And that in itself slows people down. It makes people think better because they are responsible for the lives of other people. And so you cannot behave the way you used to behave when you were single. But that is not to say that singlehood is a disability. We can help single people grow into responsibility, mature into responsible people, and still be able. We have very many single people who've never been married, who are huge, who are great, who are heroes, who have achieved so much, and who've not committed crime or been absolutely responsible. And so singlehood has its place. It's not a disability. And so, and it's not a waiting area.
It's not a waiting bay.
No, singlehood is not a waiting bay for marriage. You can live your life fully being single. And so don't be there waiting, sitting as if I must get married.
It's like your unclaimed baggage at the airport. Someone needs to claim this baggage.
So if you choose to take that path, it's not to say that you're dysfunctional as a person or you have a problem. I hear that a lot. People keep saying, oh, ukiona amefikisha miaka hapo na hajaoa ama hajaolewa, kuna shida mahali. No. We need to stop forcing people.
You can qualify for a job in all the other things, but when it comes to you're single, then you're failing, you know.
Yes, because people think you're irresponsible.
Exactly.
You can be very responsible, and we need to stop abandoning single people because we expect them to behave a certain way. Being single is not like being a drunkard. That we don't expect a very high level of responsibility from you. We need to be able to work with the single people and help them grow to that place of responsibility and maturity.
And also even help them to make that choice, whether they want to get married or not.
Yes. And being single can, in a huge way, enable you to impact the world and to do amazing things. Because you don't have something holding you back. You can go out and you can go anywhere and be anything. You can even restart life over and over again. Today, you can wake up from here go to Australia and start life. I can't.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The considerations I have to make.
The decisions, the talks.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the negotiating.
Even leave alone going outside the country. You can wake up tomorrow and decide, let me go and explore Mombasa and how life is there and start afresh.
Yeah.
All you need is your bags
and moving
and your sanity.
That's it.
And you can do it.
Yeah. Well,
and so when you're considering someone to be in a relationship with, you have to ask yourself, who is this person? Who
really
is this person really? Confusing who someone is and what they do. There are things I do because that is who I am. And you can't change that. There are things I do just because I do. And so who is this person? Because we get into relationships, sometimes seeing things people do and thinking they will outgrow them, they will mature, or they will change because they love me. But you can never change who someone is. Only that person can look at themselves and work really hard, and by the grace of God, be able to transform that aspect of their lives. And so don't take it lightly. A friend of mine once told me that the things that broke his marriage, he saw them when they were dating, but he downplayed them.
But they were there.
They only grow bigger when you get married. You see those two small annoying things? Oh, marriage feeds them and gives them fertilizer. Oh yes, because I relax. When we are dating, I'm trying to be in my best behavior. Oh, when we get married, it's like, have you ever slayed on a day I'm on top? You have your heels, your dress is perfect, in place, your hair, and everything. What happens when you get home? You're tired.
Very beyond tired.
Because you are keeping
an appearance.
When you're dating, you're keeping an appearance. That is the day you get home and you pull your bra from here, you keep and
heels. Throw the shoes from where
exactly.
And start walking.
And even that dress, you just want to get rid of it.
Oh yeah.
You can wear your dera or even walk around. Because, and that is what happens in marriage. When you get into marriage, you want to kick off the heels. You want to pull out the tie and open the shirt up to here. You want to
and
remove,
you don't attack in the stomach anymore.
Oh yes, you untuck, you remove your belt and your shoes. Anything that was holding you together, you want to be yourself. And so you see such things and you're wondering how you're saying, don't confuse who someone is with certain things they do. There are things that people do just because they do them. There are things that people do because it's who they are. Look at who I am.
Look at who the person is. This is Saisamonga. I do not want to add on to that. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Thank you for being here. It's amazing, and of course we are doing it as his office. So I hope you have a cool pastor like I do. But leave me a comment, send something, say something, and I hope you've enjoyed this series. Till next time, see you, Saisamonga. Bye. Like, share, and comment.